as Walker makes a run ahead of him. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland. We are probably the best Arsenal podcast on YouTube and any other device you're listening to. We're here today predominantly to talk about the win over Manchester United, but also anything Arsenal's been going on in the last few days. I've got two fantastic guests with me today and the button monkey. So first up, we've got Stan the Man. How you doing, Stan?
I'm really good, Nick. Yep, just got a new washing machine, so the missus is happy. You know what it's like when you've got a happy missus, you know?
Oh, that's a bit sexist, mate. You should show her how to do all the washing. She'll love you for
it. Will do.
Also, he's back again, Twitch former superstar. It's Deacon. How you doing, bud?
Hello. How are we, gentlemen? You doing all good?
Yeah, I think we're doing good. How have you been over the last few days of Arsenal winning a few games of football?
Yeah, Saturday was a pretty hectic one for me. I was celebrating St. George's Day anyway, and then the game came on, and I was like, I'll watch it. You know, Chelsea was a good game, and then I don't remember the afternoon, sort of evening time, and then late evening and then early morning.
Oh, that's not too bad. It's always a good day if you can't remember it.
Sunday was tough. Sunday was a tough day.
It's normally a bad day if you want to forget it, but obviously this was a good few days and a good win.
It was fantastic. Yeah, it's been great.
Celebrating.
Definitely not
Obviously,
expected.
last but very not least, Bergkamp Wonderland's owner, godfather, button monkey, bald person. It's Danny the DFB. How you doing, Danny?
I am very good, Nick. I've just realised either my camera is falling or I've got subsidence in my house because that should line up with the top of the door, shouldn't it? And it doesn't. Fucking cats. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Happy that we've actually won a few games rather than miserable and depressed and wanting to destroy all social media for the previous few games, which we lost. But what can we do? I suppose that is what we call football and support an Arsenal. We're up and we're down.
Much like John's underpants.
Exactly.
If he even wears any.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's the point? It's just they come off faster than they go on.
That's it. Pointless.
Yeah, obviously tonight we're just going to, flick through most of the Manchester United sort of decisions, goals and stuff like that because, on the last live show, we basically listened to Mike get drunk for an hour and a half, which was pretty hilarious, but I don't think we actually said anything about Man United, but there we go. So we'll just flick over. I suppose we'll start at the first goal and we'll go to Stan, talk about Nuno Tavares' goal and basically what you think. Do you think he's a decent left back or is he a winger?
Well, it was a good scoring as quick as he did. It was a nice way for the redemption story of Nuno Tavares because he's been up and down. He probably as much as John's aforementioned underpants that we just spoke about, up and down all over the place. And watching Nuno Tavares, that game for me really kind of encapsulates what this young man is all about because he opens up with a goal to put us ahead. But there were times during that game where he was giving me the bloody horrors, mate. I'm telling you, I was clutching at my chest at times thinking that I was going to have a coronary on the sofa. So he's a bit of a rough diamond. He's had about 35 games now, I think, in the top league, around that kind of a number. And 24 of those have been in Portugal, with Benfica. So he's still finding his way. It's going to be interesting now that we hear that Tomiyasu is back, whether we're going to stick with Nuno and carry on with him, or whether we're going to see a switch to Cedric slotting in there and Nuno going back to the bench. Because as much as I like Tavares, there is a part of me that thinks that maybe a loan spell wouldn't do him any harm because he does seem that is a little bit rough around the edges for me at the moment. And there are times when, as I say, he's giving me the bloody horrors.
Yeah, would you say that? Like, say, a loan spell? Or, I think, the modern day fullback is basically a winger, and a full-back in one. That's why they said wing-backs. Do you think that's something we could actually, teach him to be a better defender? Or do you think, something in-house? Or
I hope so. I hope so, because that's the part of his game that is really lacking, and his positioning as well at times when he's trying to do the defending parts of his game. I mean, he didn't cost us very much. It was a punt. I like the lad, and I'm really glad that he was able to bounce back in the way that he did. There was a part of me that when he got taken out of the team that I thought, oh no, we've lost him. It can do a lot to a player to be taken out the way that he has, especially it was like 2 games now. There's actually, that's become a new word now, where players actually get Tavares in a game. I think, wasn't it Christensen who got Tavares in the Chelsea game? He was off at half time. So that's actually become a thing now. You can get Tavares by your manager.
First time I heard of this.
But it's a thing. It's a thing. I'm going to promote it. Oh, yeah. It is according to me.
Okay.
But, I don't know. A loan spell, maybe. I do worry about him. I can see that Deacon was shaking his head no when I was mentioning the loan spell. What do you reckon, Deacon? No. Training?
Well, he's 22. He's 22.
Right.
We see what he can do attacking wise. He's got that chaos factor. A lot of people talk about that chaos factor. We used to chuck on Yaya Sonogo in the final 10-15 minutes. Nobody knows what he's going to do, not even himself, Yeah. So he's kind of got that chaos factor, which is great to see. He's got that drive and that energy, and obviously he's got the bounce back, which is fantastic. Positioning and everything like that, what you said is completely correct. He does need to work on that, but that's something that he'll develop over time. Having the game smarts and the football brain is something that you learn and you gain through experience by playing football. I know what you're saying about potentially going on loan. Does, however, force our hand to have to go into the market and pick ourselves up a backup left back. Whereas I want that money to be focused on central midfield, and another centre back, a backup right back, a couple of strikers. I think there's a lot of areas of a pitch that we need to be focusing on a lot more than a potential backup left back. I think if we just stick with him, I know what you're saying about the potential Cedric coming in at left back. That could be a shout. But backup left back, which is what we bought him for, I think he can keep doing that. And and only being around the Arsenal team and with this young positive drive that we've got going on, with the possibility of Champions League football, which will change the football club within one summer transfer window. Well, we're all hoping anyway. I really think he can turn into a fantastic player overall. I absolutely love him. It gets frustrating, obviously, when he's out of position, but as I said, it's going to come with time.
So what say you, Danny? Nuno Tavares, to loan or not to loan?
No, we can't, because we haven't got anybody else to come in. I see what Stan means, though, because the pressure it must be as a new lad. He's played 2 half seasons in Portugal, and he's had a bit part this season with us, and he is so raw. He's only just turned 22 or 20. It's one of the others. I've just looked. And
he's 22 years old. He's 22 years old.
In January, then. He was 22 in January. But
in January, yeah.
But I look at him and I sometimes think, is that the final position that he's going to be playing in? Because for me, at times, it looks like he would be better in a back five as a proper wing back, not a left back.
That's exactly what we should be doing at the moment.
Yeah, because as defending is something you learn. I mean, you can be a goal scorer at any age. You can be a creative midfielder at any age. But you can't just become a great defender and know your game at a very early age, which is why you hardly ever see them. So when you see someone like Ramsdale, who's barely out of nappies and he's a magnificent, well, he was the first half of the season, a magnificent goalkeeper, and now he's getting a little bit wobbly. But no, we have to keep him because Tierney is going to be our number one. And people complain and go, oh, Tierney is injury prone. Well, the way, because he tackles, and of course you're going to be a little bit injury prone if you're going to be getting stuck in all the time, like Jack used to get stuck in all the time, and all these other players that like to do tackles. So I'd keep him, Nick, because we need a decent left back. But sometimes I think he's not the left back that we need. But Tomiyasu played a lot of left back when he was at Bologna. How about you, Nick? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we always seem to say, oh, we'll loan him out. I don't think we've had many successful loan spells, a club of Arsenal's size. I mean, where would we loan him out? I suppose no one really in the Premiership would have him that play to our sort of level. And then you send him abroad, but then he's not getting experience, in the Premiership. So just because he can do it abroad doesn't mean he could do it over here. So we could have, another Pepe situation. And I do, to be honest, with all the players on the pitch, I feel sorry for, the fullbacks more than anything, because over the last, 10 or 15 years, we expect them to basically be wingers helping, up front as well as defenders. And that's a lot of pitch to cover. And I think that's why so many of them, not just at Arsenal, have had like injury problems, because they're basically bombing up and down the pitch the whole game. And I think, will he learn? Possibly. I remember Ashley Cole, he had, the last of, Tony Adams and that old defence to actually teach him how to be a defender, because, I remember he started off as a striker, didn't he, through the academy, and then sort of got taught to defence. Whether or not, the defenders we've got now can actually help him and, help him, I don't know, but it's probably down to the coaches if they can coach it into him to be better. I think he's got the basis to be a really decent left back, or probably more, wing back. But
he's a wing back. He's a wing back. He's not a fullback. He's a wing back.
He's another. Oh, what was it? When we brought him in, we just got Raul Kolasinac and Andre Santos. He's another one, sort of that mould. You could tell they're, closer to a winger than they are a defender. But let's say he's back up. Do we have to worry about replacing a backup as much? Probably not. But that's by the way. We'll just have to see. I think he'll look. I would stick with him the rest of the season, because obviously he's not coming back, and then just see where we are, because we might be sitting here in another month's time saying, we'll either have to get rid of him because he's terrible, or he could do so well, and we'll be saying Tierney might not get back in next year. We don't know, but
there was that spell early on in the season, wasn't there, when we were talking about the Tierney thing and how Tavares was keeping him out the side, and we all loved Tierney, shopping bag and all, but Tavares for a period of time kept him out of that side. One of Arteta's biggest weaknesses, and I say this all the time, is his man management. His man management on and off the field is one of the worst managers I've seen in a long time. Tactically, he's obviously he's getting there now and stuff, but how he deals with players, for example, for mentality reasons or anything like that, I think he really struggles. I think that's something that he's hopefully he'll learn over time. But how he dealt with the Tavares thing when he was performing badly and stuff like that, I think you're knocking back a player, especially when, Arsenal went out and bought Tavares and knew what kind of player he was. We didn't just go, well, he looks all right, we'll take him. We knew how he plays, and we knew his strengths and we knew his weaknesses. We've just got to try and get the best out of the guy as best as possible and early as possible, being so young and impressionable. He's around a fantastic squad, very young and very driven at the moment. So let's just keep him in there and just see how he goes for the season. We'll pick it back up early season, next season.
Yeah, I think you're right. Plus, also, because we signed him last season, obviously he'll be, at pre-season, at the start of pre-season, rather than get signed halfway in. So it really helped, get him onto the same page, and we'll just coach him into it, because
I think so.
I think a lot of people think that if you're not world class by the time you're 18, you're terrible. You've got to be sold.
Not everyone's Fabregas, man. Not everyone's Fabregas.
Well, I think Fabregas at 16, Rooney at probably 18.
Yeah, it's really rare.
Really,
it's so rare.
World class at that age. I mean, most of them don't come into their own 22, 23.
Yeah, it's things change. Everyone's different, man. Everyone gets to their what they want at any different age, man. It doesn't matter. So he's no Fabregas, but he reminds me of a Boué a kind of bit. I don't know what you guys think. Kind of reminds me of Emmanuel Boué, just very attacking, just kind of very crazy. He's got that chaos factor about him as well. He's your left back or your right back or whatever, and he'd go and he'd try and take on opposing defenders. And you're like, what's going on here? This is a bit nuts. So I like him. I really like him, and I really hope that he can take this all on the chin and move forward. And that goal against United is definitely going to help him. That's for sure.
I have to agree with Alonso. I don't think that Tavares kept Tierney out of the starting 11 at all. I just don't think that Tierney was quite ready. And I remember when on a few podcasts I was on, and everyone was basically saying about how Tavares should be starting ahead of Tierney. And I couldn't believe it. And for me, I think it's that sometimes when you see a player, if they're very busy, and when we first got Tavares, he was extremely busy. He had a lot more confidence about him, and he was taking a lot of wild shots. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Guendouzi in a way. That exuberance, a lot, very busy.
He wants to impress, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's like me. No, yeah,
and when you see that, sometimes I think it's like it has what I call like shiny new toy syndrome. You're like, what is this? We've not seen anything like this before. You know, we want a little bit more of it. So I never really bought into Tavares being good enough to actually keep Tierney out of the Arsenal side. He had a good little spell and it was good to see him, but I just don't think Tierney was quite
all right,
ready
fine,
yet.
okay, maybe all right. Well, all right, let's reword it then. I think Arteta was happy enough with Tavares' performances that he didn't feel like he needed to bring Tierney back any earlier than it was needed to be. You agree with that?
Yeah,
then?
yeah. I mean, I wasn't going at you personally.
No.
But
I know you're not. I know you're not. Maybe I'm just
on,
looking through my Tavares tinted glasses like this. You know,
I was on a lot of pods, and they were literally saying that Tierney shouldn't be starting ahead of Tavares at the moment. And I was the only one that was going like, really?
I'm a big believer in you should keep, a player should be playing in that position because they've been performing the best in that position, regardless of who's a first team player. So I was only going with it, not because I thought Tavares was generally a much better player than Tierney was. I just said, Tavares has been performing very well. He's not, he's made a few mistakes, but he's been exceptional since the Tierney situation. He was kind of thrown into the deep end. Keep him in there until we feel like his performances are slightly dropping, and then you change things up like you would do normally. Don't just go, thanks for playing really well for those 3 games, but goodbye. I don't think that's right.
I think Cedric's been playing really well, so much so that I think that we don't really need to panic and run into the market to find a backup right back. But by that token, then does Tomiyasu have to sit on the bench and continue while Cedric plays, and how does he to work his way back into the team?
Cedric, I thought personally was awful against United. Awful. I thought he was getting battered left, right, and centre.
And the free kicks against Chelsea were
exactly. Exactly. He was poor against Chelsea as well. I think he's been a solid ambassador to hold the right back position, but he's not exactly. He's not been a player where you've gone, oh, well, we don't need to worry about Tomiyasu. We've been talking about Tomiyasu for months. Oh, when's he back? What's going on? Cedric, we're just like, Cedric's done okay, but where's Tomiyasu? Where is he?
The best way to answer the Tavares question, Nick, would be if there was talks that Tierney was wanted by Real Madrid. It was bullshit. It's not going to happen. I mean, the only link there is because who is the manager of Real Madrid? Is Alonchi? That's not even a fucking name.
Ancelotti.
And there we go. Ancelotti, when he was at Everton, wanted to sign Tierney for Everton. So if Tierney did leave, which he's not, then the question, the way that you decide whether Tavares is the good enough or not is, would Arteta get in another left back, or would he go, Tavares, you're our man for our main man now? I'm gonna have a banana.
I'm pretty sure he'd get him in, and I don't think I think we all said it on here, and most of what I saw, that we all knew Tierney would be number 1 and would come back, but we were happy to keep with Tavares just to make sure he was fully fit and 100%, so he didn't get injured again. I think similar with Cedric and Tomiyasu at the moment. We wouldn't want him to come back, rush him back after 1 day's training and then pull up again and be out for another month. I think that's what that more as it is. But probably best to move on from Nuno Tavares because he scored, so we should really give him a lot less grief.
Agreed.
Now Tommy is back, it will make Tavares need to defend a little less. That's true.
Completely agree with that
as well. I mean, I think he's a good player, and we'll just have to see second season if he steps up. If not, he won't. But we'll move on then because we'll be here all night.
We'll just talk about Tavares for 45 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll move on. I'll stick with you, Deacon, because you seem to. We'll talk about the offside goals. We might as well do both of them at the same time, obviously, and chuck in the Saka penalty a bit. Obviously, Eddie was offside and then a penalty, and then Ronaldo had an offside goal. What did you think about those decisions?
Before we talk about that, I just want to quickly talk about Tavares. I'm joking. The offside goals. The Eddie one. It's getting annoying, isn't it? It's getting really annoying where you see these VAR situations where it feels like it's going on forever. I know it wasn't going on forever like the 4-minute one where we had the Martinelli goal disallowed against us, which was just absurd. But it's getting it's getting a bit frustrating now because I feel like I can't celebrate goals anymore like a normal human being. It's just getting nuts. I'm just like, I'm standing there going, waiting for the you know, what's going to happen. It's driving me nuts. I thought Eddie played rather well again, which is I'm blown away by. He's got like a pit bull mentality when he's playing up front. You know, he hassles people to the point where he makes chances from himself. Where was this Eddie for the last how many years? I'm just like, you just turned up now, have you?
I think he was on the bench.
Sure, but when he did get opportunities, he never took them. He never wasn't interested at all. It's just like it's taken him to this point. I don't know. As you know, as we were saying earlier, everybody's got their moment when they're going to reach that moment where they become a better player or world-class player, or whatever. I don't know. Seeing these Eddie performances is very interesting. However, I don't want to give him a contract. Don't get me wrong. he's gonna falter again, 100% sure. But I thought Eddie was very unlucky. To be fair, I can't remember the Ronaldo offside goal for the life of me. As I said, I was drinking. But if you could enlighten and talk about
don't ask Mike.
Yeah, don't ask Mike. I think he was gone.
He doesn't even know we play.
It's basically these offside goals that, I mean, I've been talking about it for pretty much since VAR's, and they're basically giving people a level offside. They're stopping the play. They're getting out the tape measure. They're putting all lines everywhere, and they're giving basically people, like I said, they're level. And they're giving them offside. We've had big toes, half an armpit, half a kneecap, and
isn't it supposed to be clear and obvious mistakes?
Yeah. Well, you would think so, but
they're just checking everything. They're like, "Oh, hold on, what's the level of blades of grass on this pitch? Is everything level?" It's like it's all getting a bit much, isn't it? Is they're getting involved in every single thing and taking away the kind of the spirit of the game, and it's kind of it's very much just about money. We've said that for a while. I have anyway. How football's kind of changing into franchises now. It's not really about the fans anymore, but we all knew that because of that Super League or whatever. You know, we all kind of knew something like that was coming. But
what do
the
you
VAR
say,
situation is driving me nuts. Huh?
What do you say, Stan, about offside, you know, how it is at the moment, just the state of offside, not just for us, but for everybody? Is it a bit stupid at the moment?
Well, you know, a goal gets scored and it just basically sucks all the air out of the room, doesn't it? You're like, is it what is it? Was it? I mean, was it the Martinelli one where he was like really celebrating with everybody and that? You know, I mean,
he went and hugged the doctor, club doctor. What's his name?
It just sucks everything out. The joy, all the joy is gone. You know, and
it took over 4 minutes, and they still couldn't get a definitive answer, and went, "But we're just gonna have to rule it for the defending team." Like, I was like, what?
I want the referee to be the referee. You know, if I wants to have a word in the referee's ear about something, I get that. But I don't want the referee just standing there waiting for the people in the booth to make the decision. I want the referee to go and look at the little screen as well every time, to put his own eyes on it so he can say, yeah, I can see why you pulled that back now. I agree. Or he may see something himself. You know, I want the referees to get more involved and not let these guys up in the booth do the job for them.
Well, it's not going to happen. It's going very much.
They should also be doing it in like a Catholic Church confessional thing, so no one can badger them. They go in a little box, maybe like a Doctor Who TARDIS.
They're going to be doing automated offside systems now.
Are they?
Yeah, they're looking at automated offside systems, like tracking.
Like Alan Davis was saying on the
tracks. It's just a robot on tracks that just tracks the run. Like,
wouldn't be surprised, and it has lasers in its eyes, and it will shoot you if you disagree. Yeah. But Alan Davis was saying on the Tuesday Club last night.
They all rise up together at football fields on the same day and take over the world.
Don't give them ideas.
We're not seeing Terminator.
Offside should just be for your feet, because he said Raheem Sterling was, because he runs with his arse 2 foot behind his head, and so he runs forward.
Like, no, Raheem Sterling actually runs like my missus in a high.
He runs like this. He runs like this.
Heels with a handbag.
He calls it his Tyrannosaurus arms, but it looks like he's holding a couple of handbags, personally.
Yeah, my missus runs like that. The bus.
Have you seen that over there? It's crazy.
Anyway, trying to keep this on point for Nick Schoutzers. And he was saying it should be where your feet are, because how can it be fair to judge where the rest of the body is? He said in rugby, I don't watch rugby, but then it's like in American football, if you keep your feet in for the touchdown, and then inside the lines, it counts as a touchdown. It doesn't matter if your body and your, I'm thinking that's right. But then you look, if I'm just thinking of the lines. The only thing you can do with that is with the goalkeeper when he's holding the ball. If he had his feet inside the pitch and then put the ball out sideways and it was over the line, then that would count as being out of play, wouldn't it? But they should just keep it to feet. I think that was right. I didn't really think about this until I just thought about it, Nick. Sorry about that.
Do you think maybe it should? I mean, because Wenger's been talking about this offside and bringing back a certain amount. Like he said, like it have to be a metre offside to be offside, which is sort of similar to. Remember when we had the daylight rule, which they tried for a few years and sort of went back on and stuff like that? Because, like I said, I mean, we all know what offside is and what the whole point of it is to stop people goal hanging. Standing 30 yards. Offside, next to the goalkeeper, just punting upfield and just having a one-on-one with the keeper. It was never brought in to stop people being, like say, half a knee, half a toe offside, basically level. But I mean, I think Deacon's right. If they could somehow get the offside to where it is with goal line technology, where it's the same for everybody, they've got sensors in the ball. Use the Hawkeye, whatever it is, so we can actually see every player, every inch of them. And it's almost instant, so the linesman, all he has to do is, he's got the little vibrator thing on his wrist, the same as the referee. Oh, that says it's offside, and that's done. But until they get like that, they should just stay with the on-field call.
Stop it, Deacon.
Because I said vibrator, wasn't it?
Yes.
1883, they introduced offside, and they still haven't got it right. Nearly 140 years later, might as well just give up, and not have it.
No, just get rid of it completely. That'd be a laugh.
I agree. Just get rid of it. I'm done with all
this.
Just
as we were talking about Eddie, one of the most amusing things that I saw for the Man United game was somebody posted up this little video, and it was a corner. And he got
and they're marking him, and he just steps out.
He stood in the box, and two players come either side of him. It was almost like an Eddie and Nketiah sandwich, right? And he just looks at each one of them and just takes a step back and walks around, and they haven't noticed he's gone. And when they both look in, there's no one there. They're just looking at each other, and it kind of epitomised how bad Man United are at the moment. You know what I mean? Like they're basically, it's almost like they were blindfolded. I think
it was Sancho and Dallo. I think. But that was very funny. It's a very funny little thing. Very funny. But get rid of VAR. Get rid of all of this technology shite. Just bring it back. Jesus Christ. Get these linesmen and referees and stuff like that to actually do their job. Because at the moment, they don't give a shit.
And the linesmen aren't even allowed to hold the flag.
This is it. This is it. Watch.
See ya. And they're like, where's Eddie gone?
Solid little bit of comedy there.
This is the way he looks at the both of them and just thinks, nah, you're right.
Poor Man U, they really are trying, aren't they?
And you see the one where Saka had the ball and they come up behind McTominay come up behind him and just knock the ball from under his arm.
I didn't see that.
Saka picked the ball up for the penalty and he's standing there. He's got the ball in his arm like this.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Behind him, knocks the ball out like that and it goes on the floor. I think you pathetic little twat.
Oh, well, fuck him.
And I have a question, because I'm quite old and I'm not down with the youth in the street. Can somebody tell me what the telephone thing is when Eddie does? What am I missing? Who's he calling? His mum? Jim will fix it. What's the deal?
Not anymore.
Ghostbusters.
Domino's, can I get a pepperoni passion, please?
Because I see someone else doing it the other day, and I'm like,
I don't know, but then I don't know what Saka's doing either. It's like he's serving, like showing someone to their table. I don't know what's going on there either. He's like, this is your table. So I have no idea. I have no idea about these celebrations. And then you got the Lacazette flute. I don't know. I don't know what it's all. I have no idea. So, and I'm 35, so I have no idea. No idea. Anyone's got an idea about the calling?
Kind of weird thing,
he did that before. Well, who did this one? Who does this one?
Oh, I remember.
Griezmann.
Yes, Antoine Griezmann. He goes,
2 phones he's got.
He's like,
got a burner phone.
I'm a drug dealer. You got me 2 phones. I have no idea what the phone thing's about.
Yeah, I think everyone wants a signature thing so they can see it on FIFA and say, look, they're doing my goal celebration, and then they get really happy. Probably something stupid like
I want an Arsenal player to do the FIFA dead fish, where you just jump in the air and fall to the floor.
That was the only celebration I could ever manage to do.
Yeah, I could as well.
Just drop to the floor. Just keep it simple,
I think that's why the kids all like to play as PSG, because they've got all the showing off little pricks there. Like Alan was saying that he's disgusted that his kids like to play as PSG when they play FIFA, and then when he goes to take his kid to football, those are the kids that have got PSG kits on. I wouldn't have that. I say you're not fucking wearing it until you're 18 and you got your own house. You will not be enjoying anything PSG related.
I mean, you just drop them off at the orphanage, wouldn't you?
That's agreed. Agreed. That's what my dad said. Oh, you can be a homeless child of
That's good. So let's move on. I'll speak to Danny, talk about obviously the penalty we got, and if you thought that was a penalty, and then obviously Saka stepping up and taking it.
Magnificent. He has shown that he doesn't care. He will do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and he is the greatest young player in the world. And there's no team in the world that he couldn't go and step straight into, which worries me immensely. I wanted to have a few more.
We need Champions League football. We need Champions League football.
If we don't, that's why this podcast is called Champions League. Here we come, because I'm grabbing hold of the nipples of fate and I'm twisting them with gay abandon because I don't care. It's just magnificent. That's just one more thing he's done. And I've noticed in recent games he's taking the set pieces as well. It won't be long before he's taking the managerial decisions and he's picking the team sheet and doing everything else. There is nothing that boy can't do.
Yeah, I mean, I've just thought about him the other day because I was watching Iwobi at Everton. Sorry, let me finish. Because I remember
What's a sadistic thing to do to yourself?
This is horrible.
Right,
this is
because it's very similar. You know, they both came through the academy. They both sort of burst onto the scheme, scored a few goals, and in my opinion, they both sort of dipped off a bit. But then Saka just blew up and just taken off to another level, whereas Iwobi never did. He just sort of stayed at that. And then the goals he was scoring dried up, which a lot of footballers do that. And I'm just so happy for the lad that he's done that. But I'm also terrified if we get into the Champions League that the rest of Europe are going to see him play more often on the bigger stage. And then Danny's already petrified.
We'll lose him if we don't get Champions League football. We'll lose him if we don't get Champions League football.
Yeah, but he's an Arsenal fan though, and how many actual Arsenal fans have ever really wanted to leave?
He started at Watford.
Did he?
Yeah.
He
was a Watford youth.
Is he going to go and leave to play for Watford?
What happened was this is an actual reenactment right now. So I'm an Arsenal scout, right, standing at London Coney. This is what happened, and then this is a fence, right? This is the fence. Over here is Watford's training ground. And this is Arsenal's.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's like in real life in London Coney. And they've just gone. Oh yes. Oh, he looks all right. I'll take him, please. Thank you very much. All right. And that's literally what happened. They just lifted him over the fence and went, "We'll take him. He'll do all right." That's literally what happened.
It was so small, they probably just lifted the fence up.
Yeah, they just lifted him over the fence by his top, just like or his backpack from school, just kind of lifted him over the fence. Literally, that was what happened on the day. So I don't know whether he's a born and bred Arsenal fan, but he started at Watford.
I didn't know that Eddie started at Chelsea.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until the other week.
Yeah, and in an interview after, he said, I didn't care that Chelsea let me go because I'm an Arsenal fan, and then I signed for Arsenal, so I was happy.
Yeah, but there's a few of those, you know, how young are we talking when he was on Watford's, you know, when they say he's on the books? Does that mean he had a contract? Probably not. Does that mean he went in like an open day where anyone could play? You know, because I remember Harry Kane was apparently on our books, whereas I actually heard that he was basically there for about 2 days.
I've never heard of it. Have you heard of that? I didn't hear that Harry Kane on our books. I only remember the picture of him celebrating.
Oh no, he was there
celebrating the Invincible. I don't remember him being said to be on the books.
No. Harry Kane was for an entire season.
Yeah, like I'm talking when they're 11, 12 years old, which it just happens a lot more than you think. You know, until like you're 16, 17, you sign your first professional contract. You're not really on anyone's books, are you? Until you sign.
He just started. I just said he started at Watford.
Yeah, started at youth level, like a 10, 11-year-old. But it does, you know, I mean, let's be honest about it. Nobody wants to support Watford. Nobody even likes Watford. Nobody even know where Watford is. I'm not sure.
No. Elton John used to like Watford.
Even if it does exist. You think Watford, you think Elton John, you think John Barnes and Luther Bliss it, and that's it. Oh, maybe Kevin Richardson.
The Harlequin Shopping Centre.
Wasn't Robert Maxwell with the owner for a while as well?
Derby, he was.
Oh, was it Derby? I thought it was Watford.
Yeah. No.
We don't talk about Derby here. It's bad times.
Maxwell owned Derby and Oxford, I think. And that's why they brought in the law you couldn't own more than one team. And then he fell off a boat.
Allegedly.
And he missed water. Right, so let's go off. Let's move on a little bit. Speak to Stan. Talk about Granit Xhaka and his goal. What do you think of that?
Where did that come from? I mean, we know he takes them shots. You know, he's had a couple before, but the time that it happened in the game, I thought that at that moment we were a little bit down on our play. You know, and I was getting a little bit concerned. So for him to just pick that up and just wallop it in at that time was perfect timing, and it gave us another lift again. And fair play to him. You know, that's up there with the little nutmeg he did the other week, isn't it, in the penalty box where he done the little nutmeg to bring the ball out.
So that was Chelsea, wasn't it, as well? The game before, which.
And you know, I'm not his biggest fan, and I'm just one of these that's just like, well, is it wrong to sometimes want to be able to have the opinion that you feel that you can upgrade on a player, that player isn't the bastion of that position, that he isn't the be all and end all, that if you can upgrade, why not? And I'm of the opinion of that with Xhaka, but you know, he's here helping us out, and it was a fantastic goal. Can't take it away from him, and I jumped up out of the sofa when that went in.
I found the video I wanted to show you. Just bear with me.
McTominay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little cunt.
Such a dick. Saka doesn't even rise to it. That's fantastic, man. Look at that. He just takes a breath, calms himself down. That's fantastic. There's the Cedric Saka combination again just before he takes it.
Is that Cedric hovering around thinking,
he's always
that piece?
All right, when you score, I want to be in the camera. Straight there. Woo!
There you go. That's what he lost us. All of demonetised. Now that'd be £1.20. That's just cost us.
That Xhaka goal, though, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Perfect timing. First goal of the season. It really just took complete hold of the game, and I think we could all just take a sigh of relief and take a breath and go, game's done. That's it. They've got nothing to answer for now. You know what I mean? And funny enough, I was speaking to my mate who was watching the game with, and I was like, Tomiyasu, I really want him to get minutes. And, you know, I think Arteta brought him on too late. I wanted him to bring on, 80th, 85th minute, at least. But coming on when he did, he only had 2 or 3 minutes there. I was like, I really want extra time to be even extra time, even if we concede a goal, just to get to Tomiyasu, just even 10 minutes in his legs. I think that would have been fantastic. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But what a goal from Xhaka. Unbelievable goal. But are you saying offside because of the maybe obstruction?
Yeah, I mean, rumour has it that Rio Ferdinand is still bawling his eyes out because VAR ruined everything for Manchester United on Saturday. But yeah, they were saying because he was possibly in De Gea's line of sight.
Right. Have we got a video? Mr. Monkey, Monkey on the Buttons. Can we get a video? Reenactment of that goal, of the Xhaka goal, so we can kind of see if we agree with the opinion that it's offside, it's not offside, or if we thought it was.
Yeah,
could be.
I don't know if it was offside. I remember.
I don't think it was offside. But I need to.
That there was a lot of people in front of De Gea, and he took the wrong step, didn't he? He went to peep to the right.
He went to peek, and then
but it was already coming. It was already coming on the left. It was already coming.
Yeah.
Well, if Danny can't find it, doesn't really matter. Basically, I'll look at it that he was standing in an offside position by at least a yard or two. But it started De Gea, he was looking round his own defender. I was at Tellez, and he looked absolutely he looked absolutely petrified as Xhaka hit it, because I suppose they all know, he seems to hit it.
What he can do.
But from what I was told and what they said, after the game, is because it was, and it's a rule I didn't know, because it was so far out, about 25, 30 yards away from him, they said that doesn't count. Whereas if he'd have been standing 2 yards in front of him, that's offside.
Interesting.
And apparently, which I did find out, they had a goal at Norwich scored like that a couple of weeks ago, where Pukki scored, and they were like, oh, well, he's in an offside position. But like I say, another weird offside rule that no one seems to know.
I've never heard of that one. Never heard of that one.
I can only find the video, and I can't play for any seconds of an actual video, because then the video will get deleted.
No worries.
I can't really find a photo either.
That's all right. But there we go. So because of the distance of the shot, I've not heard of that one. So that's you learn something new every day.
Well, there's another rule, wasn't there? Another decision I'd never heard of is when Suarez went down and handballed. The referee that was on Sky Sports, whatever I was watching it, said if a player is breaking his fall while falling forward with his arms and then his arms handball, that's not a penalty.
I thought we got away with that one.
Yeah, it was a bit.
We needed listen. We're Arsenal. We don't get a rub of the green very often. I thought we got a little bit of rub of the green there. With that not going towards a penalty, that's for sure. But yeah, you're right about that. Another rule that I've not heard of before. If you're breaking your fall, you'll see players all of a sudden start, oh no, I'm breaking my fall. Oops.
I think because his hand was actually on the floor, because we were going to get it how many dodgy handballs we've had over the last few years where people are just going to start deliberately kicking it at people's hands. So they've said, if he's on the floor like that, that is a natural position. I mean, we could talk about, because they had like a few more penalty shouts. And obviously the one they got, I might as well ask you, Deacon, because he's your favourite player. Tavares giving away the penalty.
No, he didn't. Sorry, that's why what your answer was going to be.
No. If I'm going to be honest with you, yes, it was a penalty, but it's an unlucky penalty. I think his arms above. Who was it? I think it was like White or Gabriel's head, kind of like over the top. Obviously, he's put his arms up to leap. I think it's unlucky. It is a penalty, but it came off Tavares' head and then onto his arm. So I thought he was doubly unlucky there. Okay, it's in an unnatural position, but not everybody jumps the same. We all jump differently. We all have different postures, heights, arm lengths, and everything. Body masses in different areas. We'll jump differently and have our body weight, whether it's front, back, left, or right, all slightly different when we leap. I thought he was unlucky. It's a penalty. But I don't think it's, oh my God, Tavares, how that's so bad. I think it's unlucky, if I'm honest with you.
I think you'd say that's what you'd call a modern day handball penalty. Sure. It's not like he put his hand or tried to catch the ball.
It wasn't like,
he didn't pretend to be a goalkeeper.
It was unlucky.
He didn't fist it away.
Kieran Gibbs or the Ox.
It didn't go straight onto his hand either. It went into his head first and then onto his hand. It's not like he. You know what I mean? I think it's unlucky.
Yeah. And what about the other?
Well, it's like sometimes you can a player can kick a ball out of a player's hand.
Yeah.
And get something for it, right?
Yeah.
The player doesn't know the ball's going to come there, and it's very rare that you see people jump in a pogo stick manner. Who jumps like that?
No, nobody jumps like that.
You get a bit of leverage.
You have to kind of get your exactly. And there was someone underneath his arm. And it didn't go even directly on his arm. It hit his head first.
Yeah, and I think that the position of the person under him, it kind of impeded him putting his arm down.
My point.
You know what I mean?
My point. I know you're all laughing. Oh my God, he's putting out a pretty good argument here for Tavares because he loves him. But I genuinely feel that he was unlucky there. Genuinely.
No, I was joking. I actually thought you clotheslined him. No, I'm joking.
See what I mean? See, look, he's got. Yeah. That's Emile Smith-Rowe. So Emile Smith-Rowe's right underneath him. He's headed the ball. And then it's gone straight, and then it's gone onto his arm. I think he's unlucky. And
he's trying to karate chop 39 in the throat. There.
And he's probably reaching to McTominay, if anything.
I saw what you did with the ball earlier.
Yeah. You go, putting a bit of pressure on him.
That.
Putting a bit of pressure on him, just putting an arm towards him. Was it Tavares where he held on to very early on Olenga? He held on to him, and then he kind of let him go, and then Olenga dropped.
Oh, yeah.
That was earlier on.
He had his arm wrapped right.
He had his arm round him, and then he kind of let him go, and then Olenga's like, "Oh fuck!"
I thought he was quite lucky there, to be honest, to Tavares.
Sure, but it could potentially be really smart play because it worked out for him.
Yeah. I think you did there.
Hey.
All right, well, let's move on from, bashing Tavares
again.
because Deacon has basically blamed.
So let me just
Emile
talk about
Smith-Rowe.
Tavares a little bit more.
No, we'll talk to Danny about, obviously, Bruno, his silly little penalty, how he took it. And he weren't the only one this week. Chelsea missed one as well, but one of these silly
he does it all
little
the time.
run-up things. What do you think about that?
I think Ronaldo should have looked at the camera, and then they should have had the music from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Love that. Love that.
Just Ronaldo going
dun, 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 dun.
Because it's absolutely ridiculous. Because you know why? I mean, it's not come out, but Fernandes is a whiny little bitch, and that's why he had to take it. And Ronaldo doesn't care because he knows this team is shit. He knows the manager is shit, or whatever position, whatever name the manager gives himself, and he knows
Whoever's
that
the manager at that point as well.
Yeah, and he's leaving at the end of the season to go and play football somewhere else because he's quite possibly the greatest footballer of any era to ever have played the game. Because people will say Messi, but Messi's only really played for 3 teams in his life. He's done fuck all with Argentina. He's done fuck all with PSG. But meanwhile, Ronaldo has done it in Portugal, for Portugal, then Man United, then Real Madrid for such a long time, then Juventus. Now he's come back to Man United at the age of 102 because he's a robot from the future. He's absolutely dominating everything. I don't even like the bloke. And
neither do I. Can't stand
and the
him.
tragedy he's just had to nearly... He was unlucky not to get a hat-trick against us. And so that's just probably just gone, fuck this team. I mean, that team is an absolute joke. They've either got players that are on 500 grand a week or players that you've never heard of. There's no in between with Man United. And they're all shit.
I mean, I think we're all... I was going to say, he's got to be on his way to finish his career back at Porto and he have a year or two there and win the Portuguese league with them.
He can go and spend a decade in MLS and then go and spend
MLS.
2 years in
He's
Porto.
MLS. He's going to play in MLS till he's 40s. 100%.
Chiellini's going to MLS,
He's still doing it. He's 36?
37.
37? He's still doing it in the Prem.
Chiellini's going to MLS at 39.
He's going to the MLS and he's going to make a shit ton. He's going to make an obscene amount of money in the MLS.
It's funny how football's changed, isn't it? It wasn't so long ago. Football was like Logan's Run. You know what I mean? You hit 30 and that was it. You were finished. The day you turned 30, that was it.
Hold on,
sent out to pastures.
Do either of you two know what Logan's Run is?
No clue.
I thought so. Carry on, Stan.
Nope.
Brilliant reference, though.
Logan's Run was a sci-fi show back in the 70s. It was originally a movie and it was set in the future. And then when you got to the age of 30, they just basically got rid of you.
They also did a Star Trek Next Generation episode like that as well.
So two of them decided to escape to find what was outside the city to see if it was like a better world. So it was just weekly. They were trying to find this place.
Was it a film or just a TV series?
It was a film with Michael York, and then they made a TV series out of it.
I need
to do it every Saturday.
Post-apocalyptic stuff like this is.
It was pretty cool. Logan's Run.
I'm looking into it.
The film's pretty cool. It's like a very retro 70s sci-fi looking film. If you like that kind of.
Isn't that the one with Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart?
2274.
No.
Hugh Jackman. What's that?
Huh? Oh, no, that's Logan and not Logan's Run.
Oh, you mean Logan?
Yeah, I've seen that.
No, that's not that.
From what, Wolverine?
Yeah.
Whoa, wow. Yeah, that's definitely.
That's Farrah Fawcett.
Just put this picture up. When was this filmed?
And it's still about 1,000,000 times better than anything that is written now. And it was shit at the time. I didn't like it. But
it was like Waterworld. I love Waterworld. It's one of my favorite films. Came out in '95. Crashed in the box office, and it became a cult classic, like most cult classic films.
On the Exxon Valdez was the baddie's ship. Very clever. Did you know that?
Nope, didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
Waterworld. The bloke with the cigar. What's his name?
Deacon.
He's in colours. That bloke, the main bloke. Him.
The marine. The mariner.
No, the bad bloke. The lead
Deacon.
main bad. Huh?
Deacon.
Is that his name?
Deacon.
I thought that was your surname.
Deacon.
Film,
huh?
Was he in the Mad Max film, wasn't he? That guy. No, different guy. Sorry.
Anyway, in the film Waterworld, you've
Yes.
got the main character, the baddie. He is on the
Deacon.
ship, the Exxon Valdez, which only a few years before that had the biggest oil spill in the history of the
the
world.
oil tanker. Oh, yeah. The oil tanker that he's on with the smokers. Yeah. But he's called the Deacon. He's called the Deacon.
So that's not your surname?
No.
Fucking hell. Carry on, Nick.
That's where I got the name from, Deacon.
Because I'm completely lost where we are, to be honest. I don't know. I've
Took a
not
huge tangent about
watching
Waterworld.
Wolverine.
I'm loving this.
I see
This is
some
great.
woman in a silver
Great film, by the way. Go and check it out. It's brilliant. It's a great film.
So move on.
Anyway, Tavares. Tavares.
No, not Tavares. We'll move on from Bruno having a terrible week as well as smashing up his Lamborghini, and that serves him right.
Who had
So
who
move on.
smashed up their Lamborghini, Nick? Who did that?
Bruno, Monday, he smashed up his Lamborghini.
Oh, unlucky.
Oh,
a shame.
Ooh.
oh no.
Yeah, and apparently he got to the training ground and I said, "Oh, did you hear the really terrible news?" He went, "Yeah, I crashed my car." I went, "No, Ronaldo." And he went, "But what about my Lamborghini?" Twat.
Wouldn't put it past him.
Maybe what happened?
Yeah, they're not exactly, even though they're Manchester United, that team is not United at all, is it?
Nope. And if they think Ten Hag is the only good thing about Ten Hag coming into Man United is Donny van der Beek is going to get a few starts. That's it. That's the only person who's going to gain.
I can't believe he can't get into this team.
Yeah,
I think
Well, have you loaned him out to Everton, or am I imagining things?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's not getting into the team.
that's probably why. Yeah,
But he just never got into the side even when he was at United. I couldn't believe it.
I know a few. United
I really wanted him at
supporters.
Arsenal. I really wanted him at Arsenal.
too.
I thought he would have been
what about
brilliant.
paying £40 million for a player to just never play him?
Yeah, well, they got Harry Maguire in the squad. So.
85 million quid, and we think we were done on Pepe. At least we're going to get decent money for Pepe.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that TikTok
10
with
million.
Harry Maguire where he's chucking his shirt out into the crowd and it cuts? And there's a guy and he dodges the shirt.
Don't touch it.
It'd be amazing. if that
Don't
happened.
try that at me.
And then someone throws the shirt back at him.
Right, so let's move on a little bit. Let's move on to Deacon to talk about Tavares again. Oh no, we're not actually going to do that. You've got some transfer rumours you want to talk about.
Sure.
Mate.
Yeah. I think obviously we've been recently. The reason why I mentioned it is that we're recently linked to Gabriel Jesus. We all know that City are going to have to chop and change quite a few things if they want to bring in Erling Haaland, because we all know that's exactly where he's going. He all spoke the words of, "I'm not going there for the money. I'm going there for the project." You're going there for the money, man. Come on, let's be serious.
When he goes there, he'll be as shit as Dortmund are, because back in the day, we all remember when Arsenal had Thierry Henry. When we didn't have him, we were shit, because the entire time it was give the ball to Thierry Henry.
Yeah, Dortmund are going to have to.
We were
but to be fair, I think Dortmund do really, really well with bringing in some fantastic-looking players. So I don't know. We all know that the Bundesliga is very much just buying. But I think Dortmund will be okay. I think they'll reinvest quite smartly. Isn't
that
Sven
who they
Mislintat
brought
back at
in
Dortmund? Isn't he back at Dortmund, Sven?
Yes, I think he might be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think because they make some brilliant pieces of business and got so many young.
No, wasn't it Stuttgart?
Is it Stuttgart?
Yeah, he went to
I'm not
Stuttgart,
sure.
I believe. I think.
I'm sure somebody in the chat will correct me. But Gabriel Jesus. Anyway, as I was saying, we all know that City are going to have to make some changes, and Gabriel Jesus looks like he's going to be one of the first on the chopping block. If he comes in to Arsenal, depending on wages and transfer value, and comes in as the support or the second string striker, I think he'd work really well. I think Ødegaard would be in heaven with someone like Gabriel Jesus playing like he does. I think he's brilliant. I think he's got a lot of versatility. But as I said, he can't be our main striker. He can't be our main, like we're putting all of our money into this guy. We can't be doing that. And as I said, depending on wage and transfer value and everything like that. But I would like him to play for Arsenal.
Maybe Ronaldo can't go. I agree with that, but he can't go because of the certain allegations that were made against him that he paid them to go away. Maybe he can't go to MLS.
Oh, I've not heard that.
What?
The can't entering US thing because of
What allegations?
Well, there's something begins with R. It's got 4 letters that I'd rather nobody said.
rope.
That's it. Very much like that. And he paid the story to go away. Allegedly, so the papers say. We don't know.
Ropey.
It was.
Very ropey, yeah.
Yeah, the touch of the Tim Westwoods, I think. Who didn't know that he was a fucking wrong? And for God's sake, lanky prick. Go on, Nick.
Talk about Pimp My Ride.
Jimmy Savile of hip hop.
He was indeed.
No.
I mean, I've been into I first got into hip hop in the early 80s and in the mid 80s, and all the way up to the the early noughties when I just gave up on music. I always thought, how the fuck is he in charge of anything? Why is everyone thinking he's the new Messiah? He's shit. I never listened to anything he did. I always thought he's a lanky fucking. Turns out he's a nonce.
He pimps people's rides.
I first heard him I think it was like the late 80s, and he used to be in a pirate channel called LWR, which I used to tune into. And he was very good on that. I used to play a lot of really good old school electro.
Spoke well.
On there. But then when he moved into the bigger leagues and that, and got more mainstream and that, what a wanker. But anyway,
He wasn't he winning the awards at the Mobos? I mean, just look at him. He shouldn't be allowed in the audience at the Mobos. Fucking scumbags. Like Nick Quicksavers.
But
Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus.
Does anyone,
Tavares.
Stan, do you want him at Arsenal?
Very much so. I mean, they're talking about like 25 million or so, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer. And I've been a big fan of Gabriel Jesus right from the very beginning. And I'm one of those that, I play career mode on FIFA. And when you find a play and you think, oh, I like this guy. And then you start to see them in the real world. He's one of those. Like Yuri Tillmans as well. Like Yuri Tillmans was for me in FIFA. He's one of those.
I'd love to get Tillmans.
So I agree with Deacon. I don't want him to just be the main man, but he would be a definite good addition to the team because he's very versatile. He can play as a number 9. He can play off of the wings. He can play as a second striker. And for 25 million, coming oven ready. His stats aren't so bad as well. If you look at his stats, right, it's the assists. And everything, what he's done with Brazil.
Dude, he's brilliant. He's
absolutely
no-brainer. He scored what, 2 goals against Real Madrid last night?
It's a no-brainer.
That was a good game.
The only thing is, though, when we have Mikel Arteta always on the sidelines, you always hear him going, Gabby. You'll have 3 people now all looking around.
You know what?
They're not playing. They'll all stop playing football to see what the gaffer wants.
That's true. We're going to have to try and figure that out. Because that's pretty much how Arteta manages on the sideline. He gives his instructions during the game.
See, he had a little a bundle, a little circle of love going on during the Man United game when someone was down or something was happening, because I saw a big picture of it, and you think it's like the old water bottle break days.
Oh, what celebration? Who did that celebration? The guy who does Soccer AM. Jimmy Bullard. Jimmy Bullard. He did when he played for Hull, he did the celebration where he took the mick and got them all to sit down and told them all off. Yes, that's it.
Absolutely.
He celebrated. Brilliant.
Go on, Nick Savers. We're wandering off track.
So again, I don't want Gabriel Jesus. Really? Irrelevant of him being. I just don't want any player that City or Chelsea or anyone has seen deemed surplus to requirements. I just don't think
Haaland's coming in.
Huh?
It's only because Haaland's coming in.
Well,
if they are going for Haaland, he's staying there.
I just don't want it. And you're saying he'd come in to be second fiddle. So if he's going to leave City because he doesn't want to be second fiddle to him, why would he come and be second fiddle?
He's not got a choice. He's getting booted out. They're putting a for sale sign on his face.
Yeah. I think this is a lot of smoke and mirrors. I can't see it
potentially
happening.
Could be. I don't disagree with you there, but I think saying no to him just because City doesn't think he's good enough. City are light years ahead of us. Light years. They're going in for one of the biggest, best up-and-coming strikers that we've seen in a very long time, Erling Haaland. They're going in for him, like, casually. They're like, yeah, he's done. And we just need to make a little bit of room, so we'll get rid of Gabriel Jesus. Not that he's playing poorly. He's still doing really, really well. And City we're not on City's level. We're nowhere near. We can see him off in the distance. We can see the exhaust fumes. We need someone like Gabriel Jesus will instantly, oven ready, love that analogy, will come into the side, and we need a squad. We don't have a squad. We've got we're bare bones. We need to bulk up for the winter. We need to bulk up, and Gabriel Jesus for 25 million. If that's rumored, that's deal.
The one thing that we're missing is variety, and he will bring variety. He will add variety to what we have. And if we want to be fighting in 4 competitions, you're gonna need somebody like Gabriel. You can't just bring in a Darwin Núñez and expect him to do it all.
Champions, he scores semi-final Real Madrid.
But then next season we could have Tammy Abraham.
We'll just keep Eddie. We'll just keep Eddie. It's fine.
Tammy Abraham, Gabriel Jesus, and we're looking at Terry Buddha. So that'd be a lovely front
Terry
three.
Butcher. What?
Too good.
I don't know.
Oh, and Harry Krishna might be joining as well.
Nice.
I just wonder if there's a player out there we haven't got. I mean, because like you say, Haaland, how he's sort of linked with Arsenal. Not we're signing him. We're not signing him. But how, Dortmund signed him because they sold us Aubameyang. Do you see what I mean? It's like,
Sure.
We need to, no, and I don't care. I'm sure there's a few hipsters to say, yeah, I knew Haaland before he signed for Dortmund. I've been watching him
when he was playing for Mulder.
12 and all that sort of thing.
He was playing for Mulder, and then he went to Salzburg.
No, in an under 18 game.
We know him not because we're hipsters, but because we live and breathe Football Manager, and that's pretty much what I play all the time as now. So
what I'm saying
is we know him because we live and breathe a game that predict these players 10 years in advance, not because we're like Googling and surfing the internet for all of these random players. This game just tells us who the best players are.
But wasn't he playing under Ollie Solskjaer in
Yes,
Norway?
He was at Mulder. Yep.
And
so
I remember him at RB Salzburg. I remember him at RB Salzburg.
Yep. I thought he was going to make a transition from Salzburg Red Bull to Leipzig. I thought what he was going to do. But then he went to. That's how much I was following the Haaland story. Very early doors. But we've got players that we could look at too, like Lautaro Martinez from Inter. I think he could be a promising player. Obviously, Jonathan David and Alexander Isaac and stuff like that are other players that we could look at. Then you got the Nunes thing. No one's really talking about the Nunes. Kind of came up and then kind of died a little bit. We got, if
Jonathan David play against Man United in Europe recently, or Chelsea, or they played some English team, and he was rubbish. Didn't do a thing.
But he's not ready to lead the line. He's not ready. He's very much like a Martinelli. He's very quick
striker.
He runs at the second striker, I think.
Exactly. So we need a player that can lead the line. I obviously was in love with Vlahovic. That's the one. There we go, Vlahovic. But he obviously went to Juventus because that's generally what they do. Dybala's coming up for free at the end of the season. I'm not saying he could just, man, Dybala.
Oh,
Dybala.
good God, no. Look at
end of the season on a free.
I'm just laughing at the guys in the chat room. They're all talking about João Felix-Stowe. Felix-Stowe. That's good.
Obviously João Felix from Atleti is another potential where we could look at as well. But there's lots of promising players, but we need to focus on the one that's going to be leading. The number 9, the new number 9 for Arsenal. Who's that going to be? We can't sign 2 or 3 of these or 3 or 4 of these players. Sorry, we can only sign 2, really, theoretically. So we need one that's going to be like, right, this is the man that's going to lead Arsenal to consecutive Champions League progression in the league.
Deacon, in your eyes, then, if you're going to bring in 2, forwards, and let's say one of those is Gabriel Jesus, that's all done and dusted for 25 million.
Okay.
He's spending the big money on them to lead the line. Who would you choose?
It's I really like Lautaro Martinez from Inter.
He's good. He's good.
I really like him. He's had a poor season this season, but then has Alexander Isaac. But I think Martinez. I think he could. If we give him games, I think he could turn into a world-class striker. I think he's got all the facets. He's got that raw drive and determination. And he's got the ability. And he has stupid haircuts, so he'll fit in right. Arsenal. Considering we sign strikers with stupid haircuts. So yeah, I'd like if not Nunes, because I think his stats are really, I know it's only been a season, but you can only do what you can do where you are. I really like him. I don't think Jonathan David's ready. I think Isaac is not the guy that leads the line. But who knows? We'll end up signing someone completely left field. I have no idea who that's going to be, but that's who I'd go for Martinez, Lautaro Martinez. If we get Gabriel Jesus for £25 million, that will be probably. I bet you'll be the signing of the season by the end of the season. That's my claim. If we sign someone like that and give him games with Ødegaard, who's created the most chances in the Premier League to date.
Yeah,
I think we turn Gabriel Jesus into a world beater. Not that he's not already doing it at City. I think a player of his caliber that's only being let go because they're going to sign the world's best striker right now. I think he'll do all right.
Fresh surroundings for him as well. I think he'll do fine. I think he'll do fine. He'll love London. He'll love the project.
He's young. He's driven. Yeah.
What about you, Danny? What 2 strikers do you think we should bring in?
I don't think we've got time to muck around and give someone 6 months to settle in. So I think it'll all depend on. We've got to get rid of Pepe. That is going to be a huge loss, £15 million maybe. More likely because he's on 140 grand a week and he's at best a Ligue 1 player. And unless you're at PSG, you're not earning 140 grand a week. So that's probably going to be a loan, a 2-year loan until his contract is up. Then let him go, which is fucking shocking. Our record transfer of 72 million. And then so if we can get rid of him. Eddie's going to have to go. I don't care what Eddie does the rest of the season. I'm glad that he's proved some of the critics wrong and scored a couple of goals. But if we are going to go far in the and do well in the Champions League quarterfinals, maybe with some of the players we've got the potential for that if we get the right players. If not, definitely out the group stages, then we're going to need 2 strikers. We need someone who's going to score the goals and someone who's going to be willing to be backup or to swap around. Because next season, hopefully, we're playing maybe 60 games, all competitions, rather than, I don't know what we played this season, 45 in total after it's all said and done. So I do like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but he's not really doing that much at Everton. And when he does play, I think we like him because he's English and because he is good in the air, which is something we've missed. But I do like Tammy Abraham.
Sorry, let me just jump in there on the DCL thing. I've been saying for months now, if we had prime-time Olivier Giroud in this side right now, we would have won the league.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
The amount of crosses we put in,
it's set up perfectly for him.
If we had prime time, I mean, when Olivier Giroud was brilliant, not the time when Ozil was about to get the most assists in the season and Giroud just went, "What's a goal?" Not that Giroud. The Giroud just slightly before that, when he was doing all of this fucking stuff. I think if we had prime time Olivier Giroud in this side right now, we not only win the league, but we win it convincingly. And we challenge if we have Champions League, we would challenge in the Champions League 100% without a shadow of doubt. So someone like DCL is a good shout, but I think we only go for him if Everton get relegated.
If we can get him on the cheap, do you think?
If we can get him on the cheap, no, yeah, 100%. Yeah, do it. If we can get, but the thing is, who would you rather go for? DCL, who would 100% fit in this Arsenal team right now, and he's young, he's English. Well, he's not young. How old is
50
DCL?
million, about 25.
25. That's not too bad. Richarlison.
That diving little prick. Don't want him anywhere near our club.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Fucked.
I know what you're saying,
but
don't cut your nose to spot your face.
He's a horrible person and a horrible player. He's like the one who'll have a couple of good games a season.
You don't think he'd be worth a punt? No? Just because of that?
I wouldn't want a scumbag like that at our club. But just looking at Calvert-Lewin, this season he's only played 14 games. Last season, all comps. Last season, 39, 41, 38, 44. So before this season, last season, he got 21 in 39 all comps and 15 the season before that. 25 years old. And when he plays for England, he's got 4 in 11. So when he's playing around decent players,
I think he'd fit in this. If Everton get relegated, I think we have a good chance of getting him someone like DCL. I think he'd fit perfectly.
Sheffield
we could potentially turn him into the Giroud that we were looking for. It's very hard to find these playoff target men star strikers nowadays. It's quite a difficult kind of style of play, and Arteta's very much looking for that striker that drops as well as runs and obviously get up in the air and get about. DCL could do that, but it all depends on whether Everton get relegated. So if we beat him on the final day of the season and we get them relegated, we'll just sign DCL on that day.
Sign him in the tunnel.
Come on in, mate. Let's go over here, shall we? Just stay.
The Everton coach is coming down for the game. All the players are going.
Go back to there. Where there's a park that separates Liverpool and Everton. It's called Stanley Park. Just makes me giggle that they must just walk around with Stanley knives in there all the time when they have rumbles.
I live in Vancouver, and right next to where I live is a Stanley Park, and it's not my park.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay,
not yours.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I if Everton get relegated, let's have a little look at DCL. I agree.
Right, so we've gone. I'll ask Danny another question, which
I never told you who I liked.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stan.
I only managed to say one before Deacon interrupted.
Go on, Stan. Here we go.
All right. Now you all mentioned some really good ones there. So all some really good ones. But just to play devil's advocate a little bit and mention a new name, I quite like Victor Osimhen.
Of Napoli.
Napoli.
Yeah.
Someone
he's young. He's 22. He's very strong, very
help
fast.
Pull players out of the way to create space. But I mean, a lot of the names that I'm not so
He'd
sure.
He'd be very, 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 very expensive. Probably one of the most expensive.
That would be around about 80 million euros, something like that.
Plus, he's. That's why I didn't even mention him because I went for Lautaro Martinez. I think he'd probably be half that.
Really?
Yeah, I think he'd be 40-50 million.
No way. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think you could get him Lautaro Martinez for 40-50.
I thought he'd be around about
Victor Osimhen. He's what? Yeah, he's 100%. That Victor's like he's.
So you basically you're spending 75 million on Martinez, Lautaro, and Gabriel Jesus.
Yes, that's my thought process. Yeah,
that's not bad shopping.
No, that's what I was going for in my mind.
That's very good.
But going for Victor from Napoli, I think he's going to be so expensive, dude. He's brilliant though. Absolutely think he's a phenomenal football player. Strong, fast, aggressive. He would dominate the Premier League. I think he's got that. He's got the build already. He's got the build already to do it. But he's expensive. Napoli will not let him go for cheap. It's going to be you're right, 80 plus.
Yeah, have a lay down. You're getting too excited. No one's getting the chance. No, shh. Calm down. Poor old Nick hasn't even answered a single question yet.
So is that
he wanted to talk about his striker option.
Is that with Jesus as well? You thinking him too, and maybe someone else?
Yeah.
Who else you think? A name in mind, or
that's what I like. I like an answer. I like standard. Yeah. There you go.
I don't want
to
mate.
Hold off. No.
I am who I am. You fucking know me for years. It is what it is, mate. I'm not one of those. I've got a little bit more to offer.
I know.
At least I fucking respond, Danny.
I start putting my hand up.
Fucking hell.
No, I do have a little shopping list. My shopping list would include 2 strikers. Gabriel Jesus is definitely in there now for the sort of money that we're talking about and what it could bring. There's a whole range that you could bring in for the other one. Some of the names that we've just mentioned. But I'd also like to bring in, Ruben Neves, because I think that we do need a bit of, again, the term oven ready, but a little bit of experience. I really worry that if Lacazette goes, and let's say for whatever reason Xhaka goes, and then they're replaced with players that have a profile between the ages of 20 and 24, and maybe from another league, I worry that we don't have any experienced heads around the team. So I'd like to bring in Ruben Neves and also Yuri Tielemans, because I think that we are short in the midfield area. So we have some experience there. When I say experience, Neves is only 25 himself, but he's been on the scene now for so long. Yuri Tielemans with a bit of youth, and I'd also like to bring in a wide player. And I quite like the guy playing over in the Eredivisie, Cody Gakpo, who I've started hearing about and looking at, and he could be a good option as well. And that would be like the quartet that I'd like to bring in. I think we're good in defence if Saliba's going to be part of the team. That would be my little shopping list.
Well, you're over there. You could just pop over to the other stand and say, "Here you go, mate. Can you just sign this check for 200 million?" What do you think?
I don't think he's going to be withholding money from all sounds of it. My biggest worry is it sounds like this summer there's going to probably be around about the same amount that we spent just recently. But my worry is if we don't make Europe, then it doesn't matter how much money you got. You're not going to get the right caliber of player to get us to where we want to be. We'll be bringing in mediocre players, and then the squad might not be good enough next season to get us up into the Champions League. So I think it's imperative this season that we finish really well. We minimum has to be the Europa League because we've got money to spend. We've got to splash the cash, and the top players, they want to sit at the top table.
That's very true. Like I say, that not just getting into Europe. Like I say, that's going to be the caliber of player, isn't it? We get as well. But there we go. So I'll ask the last question to Danny. Obviously, I think has he asked anyone in the chat if they got any questions? You could start starring them. But I'll ask you this one, Danny.
I've just asked them.
how can we beat Chelsea and Man United like that, yet lose to Palace, Brighton, and Southampton?
Well, I asked this question, and Femi had a good answer. When we're chasing the game, we can't do it. But when we go up early, then the game's in our hands, which we did against both those teams. Scored early goals. Against Chelsea, we scored in the 13th minute, and against Man United, we scored in the 3rd minute. And so then we're not chasing the game, and then we can play better football. That's it. And I thought, Femi's right. That's it.
Yeah.
I've got nothing else to say.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's similar, right? Because I had to look back at like the stats, because we all love stats in football. You know, those 3 games we had pretty much the games we lost, we had the lion's share of possession and did actually have quite a few shots, but maybe we just could not score a goal. And maybe we're gonna, whether it is a Calvert-Lewin or someone a bit different, you know, that can actually get us out of this muddle, because it's all good and well, you know, beating United and, you know, Man City, you know, United, Chelsea, and playing well against City. We, you know, if we'd have lost those 2 games, but beat Palace, Brighton, and Southampton, like we probably should have done, we'd be sitting there on more points, wouldn't we?
And you know, it's hilarious when we get desperate, because you see Arteta bringing on. We'll have Pepe, Eddie, Lacazette, Martinelli. We're playing 4 strikers, and we still can't do anything. I mean, I was looking at the stats from the number of goals for those games, and we actually had a better attacking, more shots on target, and all of that stuff against the games that we lost than we did against Chelsea, I think. Yeah. I did have it all written down. I don't know where it's gone now. My fat fingers have got the best of me. But there's no questions, Nick. There's one about something we haven't talked about tonight, Tavares, and it's a bit late to get into that. Yeah. And Phil Macker says, will Eddie stay as number 2 striker? No, he won't. No. That's it. That's all we've done. Deke's been very, very quiet. He's proven a point.
I'm only joking. Yeah, no, Eddie's not done. That's done.
So we've got no questions, Nick. Here we go. Procrastinating Womble has got one. Can we build a time machine and show Wenger that FFP is going to be bollocks, Doc Brown style?
I like
he
that.
wouldn't listen.
I like that. No, he wouldn't.
He'd be too busy sorting out the cutlery.
And whatever his answer would be, it'll probably start with the phrase, look. Look.
He speaks 7 languages. Fair play to the guy. Like, fair play.
And he can't answer a straight question. Can't give a straight answer in any of them.
At least he doesn't give too much away, does he? Remember the times? Who was the signing that we signed where he kind of like smirked at the camera?
Cheekiest of smiles, right?
Cheekiest of grins.
I bet he's a shit poker player. That's not a poker face at all. No. You know what I mean?
But it was brilliant. Just that moment, you know. He was fantastic. I love him.
We've still got no questions, Nick. Phil's taking the piss, so he should be put on suspension for that kind of nonsense. And I'm just making me hungry.
Because we've won 2 games of football and everyone's happy. They've got no questions to moan about. No one likes it when we're doing well, do we?
That's
the question that you asked a moment ago, Nick, about the inconsistencies with those 3 games that we lost, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we're rocking up at Chelsea and Man United. I honestly believe that this is a symptom of the youth and the inexperience that we have in and around the team. And that's why I really hope that whoever we do bring in, there is some experience, because if we don't, and those players leave and they're replaced with those players of a similar age and profile, I worry that next season you will see similar things. There'll be games where we'll have a 2 or 3 run game where we don't get anything out of it, and we'll all be scratching our heads. It worries me that when we bought, let's say, look at our defence. Where is the experience in our defensive line? I mean, the most experienced player is probably Kieran Tierney. They're very good individually. White's a good individual player. So is Gabriel. But I worry at times that in certain situations, certain aspects of the game, who is it that's leading who? I'm not saying that I miss David Luiz, but I kind of miss the stature, what he was able to do by helping some of the young players through the game. I'm glad we got rid of him, don't get me wrong, but it does worry me that we don't have that in and around the team. And until we get that, I do believe that there will be other instances where we'll have games where we'll go 2-3 games and have stupid runs like we did.
True. Yeah, I do miss his the big brother situation, I suppose it would be at Arsenal. He's been played all over the place, and he's an international, and he's someone he's dependable, but he's also got a bit of a Granit Xhaka in him at times, doesn't he? He's going to fuck it up.
We need to sign a centre back. We need to sign a centre back.
Well, it's said today that 50% of Twitter is going, Saliba is staying, and the others are going, no, he's going, and that's the breaking news on Saliba today. Be different tomorrow. The other 50% will swap it around. Have you got anything else, Nick?
Do you think?
No, I think it was unless anyone else got anything to say, we'll go on some shout outs.
Deacon, do you still think we need a centre back if Saliba comes in?
I thought you were going to ask me about Tavares for a minute.
No, that's my follow-up question. My follow-up question.
You were getting me with such a serious tone. I was waiting for you to mention it.
I can be serious at times, but I mean, I was thinking if Saliba's going to come back, we've got Rob Holding, Gabriel, and White. Do you still think that we need to squeak in another centre back, or is there maybe someone from the academy that could be hanging around like a Ballard or a McGuinness?
I think if they were floating around and involved in the side, they would have been on the bench by now and shown their presence in the first team. I think we lack in quality at the centre back position when it comes to our academy. If I'm honest with you,
and fullback,
and fullback. Zach Swanson, he's floating around and whatnot. But
position does Swanson play?
Sorry.
What position does Swanson play? I've seen his. I don't know what position Swanson plays.
He plays wing back, doesn't he?
I don't know.
He can play centre back and he can play in the middle of the park, as far as I can remember, like a deep lying. But that's like the only name that I can vaguely remember in a defensive position. I think we don't really have anyone there. I think relying on a season where we've got 4. That's if Saliba happens. Like we still don't know what the fuck is going to happen there. Do you know what I mean? We can't. I don't think we can go into a season where we're hoping like Danny said, where we've got 60. We want 60 games. We've got to have at least, not at least, but about 5. I think 5 centre backs is a smart play. I don't think we need to be doing anything more than that. We have to juggle. We have to have a big squad, and we have to juggle a bit more. If we've got these games coming in thick and fast, one injury can just upset the apple cart, and I don't want that to happen.
Procrastinating Mumble says we have a fullback in League One. Is that Brooke Norton-Cuffy fella?
He's a decent player.
I do love a double-barreled name, by the way, as well. So I'm happy about that. Is he any good?
There was a video of him going around. He is bloody quick. He likes to come in from the wing or fullback, and then run across the central midfield, and then run past everyone. And he's
wing back.
Yeah, he's very, very promising. But I'm not sure what team he's playing for. It's he's playing for Lincoln. And what are they? League One? Yeah, they're League One.
Oh, okay.
So not a really high level, but like Deacon was saying, there isn't really anybody. I mean, we've got our attacking ones like Miguel Aziz is another central midfielder, but Portsmouth didn't play him properly, and so he's not getting much.
We've got Birif that we signed from Fulham. He looks fantastic.
He's the really strong captain already.
This is what I mean. He looks strong and tall and a great player, but he's not featured. I thought he would have featured for us by now, like in a League Cup game or something.
Wasn't he including? He's been training with the first. I think that's the way Arteta likes to do it. You bring him in training with the first team squad for 6 months.
I think we'll see. Birif, is he Serbian?
No, he's English.
Is he English?
He's English.
Oh,
His parents are from Eastern Europe. I mean, are they Eastern Europe or are they Denmark or Scandinavian or somewhere like that? I can't remember.
Sure we'll find out. I think we'll see him in the summer training. I think we'll see him in the summer training for sure. I think he looks really good.
Stan, I'll just ask you a quick question before we do our shout-outs. Do you think, because we're talking about bringing in older players for their experience, do you think maybe bringing in older players, who've maybe just retired, I don't know if David Luiz is now retired or retiring. I know Koscielny's just finished, and I don't know if he's burnt a lot of bridges at Arsenal, but bring them in to do, if they wanted to do their coaching badges and just have them around the training and around the club, that sort of way. So not in a playing capacity, but
ambassador
in a mentor.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether whether it's Arteta or other people behind the scenes are kind of into that, because if I was going to choose between bringing in, people that are ex-players to come in and around the club, someone like a Martin Keown, for example. I'd rather do that than be paying out money to bringing in an outside organisation to come in and spend 6 months with us and tell us about our heritage and culture. I think there's a much easier way that can be done, and I'd rather be doing it with ex-players.
So is that a yes then?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. We love the yes no answer.
Got there in the end.
Beerus was called up. He was called up to the
Danny?
Denmark under-19 squad in October 2021. So he's English. He's born in England, but I think his parentage is Danish.
I think it's the who's the Serbian striker that I was thinking of? Mitrovic.
Yes, the other Fulham one, possibly.
Yeah. I think that's the Serbian striker from Fulham.
Yeah, but he's a hell of a player. Go on, Nick.
Yeah, right. So let's just go on to shout outs, Deacon. I mean, we know who you're going to shout out. Your favourite left back in the world.
Is he even on Twitter? I don't even know if he's on Twitter. Otherwise, I'd shout him out. To be honest, no, I don't have any. I didn't even think about a shout out. To be perfectly honest with you. Come back to me.
Danny, have you thought of one?
There was someone that I wanted to mention last week with it was the Arsenal scout who passed away. I can't remember his name. I did have Steve Rowley. I think he'd been at the club since 1981, and then he only retired a few years ago, and he passed away at 63. And
brilliant scout.
Yeah, what have I done? Oh, I didn't know you could turn that on and off. And so he was all the Arsenals like Adams and Rocastle and Parler, and well, there's no point listing them all, but I think he had a hand in finding them all. They all knew him, and they've all tweeted. The ones that are on Twitter have tweeted about it and said how bad it is, and that's really sad. So we should have said that on last week's podcast. But as for a gentleman's nod, no, I don't think there is anybody. There's maybe go to Glenn Goon in New York. I think that's what he was on the preview show for Man United, and he was very positive about it all. And he's got his own YouTube channel, and I should put it in the chat. But just go and have a watch of what he does, because it's kind of funny and it's kind of weird. But that's Glenn for you. I watched his latest video last night where he's just walking around a park in New York, talking to a camera and getting angry. It's GLENNEWYALK. So go and find his channel and just give it one go. You'll either like it or you'll hate it.
Lovely. Stan, you thought of one yet?
Yes, I'd like to give a shout out and raise some awareness for a friend of mine over there in Oklahoma, the Sooner Gooner, aka Tony Turner. I don't know if a lot of you know, but he went for a really bad time just over a year ago, where all of a sudden, very quickly, he got an infection in his toe. And then within a couple of days, the diagnosis was that they had to take his leg off from the knee down. So he's struggling at the moment to sort of like raise the money for his proper prosthetic leg. We've tried to put on some things for him. We've raised some money for him, but we're still a long way off the target. So if you go over to his Twitter at TAOPROPHET, that's TAO Profit basically at 420, and you can see his pinned tweet. If you want to help out a fellow Gooner, just chuck in a $5, maybe enough for a pint. It will all go to a good cause to get Tony's new peg, so he can get up and about and look after his property. He's got big property over there in Oklahoma, and it's really a struggle for him. So give that a look, please.
Oh, that was nice. What about you, Deacon? You thought of someone yet?
Nope.
No,
I spent ages.
I thought he was going to shout out Tavares.
Yeah,
I'm seeing if he was on Twitter.
No, I've got no one to shout out. No one important or anything like that. Not like my cat's obviously going through some stuff at the moment. But I spoke.
Well, shout yourself out then. Give your own Twitter a shout out.
If you are
here comes the disclaimer.
I always give the disclaimer. If you are a fan of Daddy Elon, then hit me up on the Twitter, and if you're a political, hit me up on the Twitter. Then that's at Deacon Justified, at Deacon Justified. Go and follow me if you're into that sort of stuff. I talk about Arsenal, but it's a lot of politics.
Oh, that's nice. I was best to try and end this podcast quickly so we can get out of here, because it's been interesting talking about Tavares most of the day. But
It should be just the podcast should just be called Tavares.
Probably.
Full stop.
And you got anyone you're saying hello to, Nick?
Nah, not really.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Well,
I didn't think I wasn't prepared for a shout out. So I had no idea.
No, I can't be bothered to shout anyone out.
Tell people the new stuff you bought for your games collection.
Oh, I could take myself out. That's a great idea. Nick Fights on Twitch. I've been getting some like all retro games and stuff like that. I've got some like cables and stuff so I can play a lot of the older PS2 games and older Xbox games.
Nice.
So I'll be playing some of those. I'm going to be playing Dark Souls 3, a really hard game where I will die all the time and scream and cry like a baby, because that's how I Twitch stream.
Dick, have you ever played an old Xbox game, Scarface, The World Is Yours?
I've got an old Xbox literally over by my television over there, mate, as well as my Dreamcast. But no, I've not played that. Decent.
Nick?
Well,
No,
Scarface is in the film. Scarface
I've probably
is in the film.
got it. I've got hundreds of games. I think I've got some. I think I've
It's
got
not
The Godfather as well. Them sort of games.
It's not based on the movie. It's kind of like sort of like a GTA. Obviously, it's a lot earlier, but
Interesting.
But you start off as Tony Montana. He survives the shootout at the end, and then you basically have to rebuild his empire again from scratch.
That sounds great.
It's a really.
And that was on
it's a
Xbox
really good
Classic,
game.
was it?
Yeah, it still works on. It still works on the Xbox One, because I've got the disc and it still works on the Xbox One. But it was prior. It's older than Xbox One. I think it might have been either the first Xbox, that big black chunky thing.
Yeah, I've got that over there.
I hate it. I'll tell you why I hate it.
It could have been potentially 360.
But it's a really great game. It's got some great music in it from that era as well, and lots of cars. You know, all of the acting of characters that were actually in the movie.
Kind of sounds
well.
like GTA Vice City, kind of that Vice City vibe.
Yeah. It's more like
You just chuck on the radio on Vice City, and it's better than any other radio station in real life.
Called Scarface, The World Is Yours. Worth a look if you like.
Interesting. I like that. Okay, that sounds
It's
cool.
the bane of my life, that game, Stan. I had it on the PSP. One of them, when I bought someone's PSP and sold it all. Yeah, I sold it once, and then I realised it wasn't the game. It wasn't the film. It was the game. So then I had to give them their money back, and then I sold it again about a month ago, and it got lost in the post, so I had to refund it for a second time. White cover.
Having fun.
Yeah. There you go, Nick.
Yeah, let's try and end the
show on a
podcast
low
before Deacon starts talking about Tavares again. You will do. Okay, thanks everyone. You've been listening to a Bergkamp Wonderland, which is, like I said, the greatest podcast in the world.
Even
and
we
obviously,
don't believe
thanks
that,
to
Nick.
Stan, Deacon, and Danny for pressing all the buttons. You did magnificent today, Danny. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Well, I could do if I'm too fat. My arms don't reach. So, well done. Pointing it all in the right direction, Nick. It's very good of you.
You're welcome. So thanks everyone. See you. We'll be on the next game. Was at West Ham the weekend, so it'll be a live and a preview. So obviously check out Bergkamp Wonderland at Twitter to see what time we'll be going live, like a pre-show and the show after the game. So if you want to listen live on there, it'd be great. If anyone, listening on Twitter, chuck us your Twitch Prime subs if you've got any of them. Because
give them to you. I
don't need them. You need them.
You might need to get the Audi washed.
No, the Audi's good, Audi. Danny, can you do me a favour?
What's that?
Can you just switch this shit off, please?
Cheeky. I will. Bye-bye.